You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever.
I see. You're trying to get her to lower her guard. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
You were lying when you said you were here to rescue her, but regardless of your intentions, breaking her out of those chains would be a big mistake. Don't even try it. You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay, I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She clutches the wound, softly smiling as her gaze meets yours. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Oh, I thought this was all a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges. Wait, she dodges? Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
I'm sorry. I can see you're doing your best to resist what's happening to you. I'll try and make this quick.
She pounces on you with the same animal ferocity she used to tear through her arm. You feel her claws on your throat, then her teeth, somehow sharp enough to pull apart your flesh and sinew with ease. You collapse to the floor, your body unresponsive as your blood pools on the ground beneath you. She stares down at your ravaged form, eyes shining in the darkness, dress stained red as your blood seeps into the fabric. When she manages to escape from this place and bring ruin to the world, know that it was all your fault. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. We can help her. We just have to find a way. Oh, is there another one of us in here? Help her? Need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. Sure, and all of us in here definitely believe you. Just stay focused on the task at hand. I have one last warning for you. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say the word wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely empty. The air stale and musty, the floor and walls covered in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries softly up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's even more hypnotizing than before. Is it more hypnotizing than before, or is that just what we want it to be? I think we're in love. For everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just don't let her charm you. It's all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's still so beautiful. And she has both of her arms again. Did everything we just went through actually happen? It must have, because she's different. Can't you tell?
You. I remember you. You're going to help me get out of here, right?
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do. Nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't. Are you serious? No, you have to do it. That's the spirit. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
It's commanding, almost as though she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So, this is a pretty awkward start to a relationship.
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here. And if there isn't, well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting. Right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Not to make things even more awkward, but do you know why you're here to kill me?
Believe me.
And do you think asking me what to believe is going to suddenly make everything crystal clear? Let's not pretend that's going to happen. As far as you're concerned, and as far as they're concerned, I'm going to say whatever I have to get out of here. That's just the dynamic of our situation.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her.
too long?
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her. Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
Just how long has she been down here?
Did they even bother to tell you how I'm supposed to end the world? Because that just doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd be capable of. I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're asking.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
Look, at the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or any other number of good things that I'm sure you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So, do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. Serious. As internal bleeding sets in, the blade falls from your trembling hands, clattering to the ground uselessly. You lacked the will to finish the job, your bruised and broken body falling to its knees before her. The princess, exhausted, chest heaving with heavy breaths, tosses the blade away from you. This is the end, isn't it?
Look at you. Completely broken. This was fun.
She plants her foot on your chest and pushes you onto your back, the air leaving your lungs in a heavy puff. And then she brings her knee to your throat. She leans into it with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess, shattering your windpipe and leaving you starved for breath.
It's too bad. I was looking forward to some company.
Everything goes black, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A terrible sense of deja vu. No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us has been here. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's going to kill us again. Oh, is there another one of us in here? If you go to the cabin, you might as well just throw yourself at her feet and beg for mercy. You are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff that pathetic little voice to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead. You know I can tell when you're lying, right? Please take this seriously. I am begging you. I have one last warning for you. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. It's not her lies that'll stop us. I must admit, I'm a little worried about going back in there. I don't want to be as much of a downer as my new roommate, but we were definitely outclassed last time. She seems more demon than princess. Ignore them, they don't know what they're talking about. She's just a princess. Don't get all in your head about it. The interior of the cabin is larger than it should be. The only item of furniture is a plain wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old wooden staircase. The steps are wide and deep. The air seeping up from below is heavy and oppressive, with an odd, eggy stink to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
It's somehow even fiercer than it was before. Of course it is. Don't let it intimidate you. You're playing a dangerous game by coming down here unarmed. Why even bother with the knife? It wouldn't have done us any good. We should just give up and pledge ourselves to her. You carefully make your way down the stairs. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Is it just me, or is she bigger than last time? It looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought. I told you. It's pointless.
I was wondering when I might have company. Free me from my bindings, and maybe I'll let you live for a while.